everyone. So today we're talking about what is the fifth in the Alex Rider series. I keep thinking it's fourth, but it's actually fifth out of 7. This is Scorpia. The deal with this is, and I explained this a little bit in my first review for Stormbreaker, the first in the Alex Rider series. I only own the first and the fifth, and it was a fluke, but that's good because the fifth is actually what I consider to be the best in the series. I actually question whether it needed to even continue on after this book, but I don't know if we'll talk about that any because I don't want to give away the ending or anything. But it's a really good ending, and so I really like this book. I think the first Alex Rider book is good, and I like it a lot, but this book kind of creates an emotional heart to the series that really cements it as a favorite of mine and makes kind of reading the whole series worth it. I would say there's like how we talk about like story arcs and triangles and everything. I would say this is like the climax of the series, where you're getting a lot of things answered, and there's just a lot of emotional heart to it. So anyway, let's dive into what it's about. So Alex Rider, in the previous books, and so I'm going to try to not spoil as much as I can, but of course there's been other books, and so, but anyway, what happens is that he finds out that his father was part of an organization called Scorpia, which is where we get the name of the book. And so Alex Rider wants to go find out what Scorpia is. He has no clue what it is. And so he knows that they are in Italy. And so he goes to Italy with his friend, which is also interesting. Like, this is the first time we really find out that he has any friends, which is nice. We get a lot more about his personal life in this book, other than that girl who I really don't like. The girl in the series doesn't come up in this one, and I really don't like his girlfriend, so that's good. So anyway, he goes to Italy, and he finds these people. It turns out that they are a kind of an organization for hire. They're called Scorpia. It stands for like sabotage, corruption, something that starts with an I, and assassination. So anyway, they do these kind of things for the highest bidder, and they take him and they're like, hey, here's what we do. He convinces them. He's like, oh, I'm whoever, right? I'm my dad worked for you guys, and they're like, oh boy, cool, come, be with us and whatever. And so they train him and everything, and it's cool because it's working in a different way than some of the others in the series. Like, the whole series kind of has this sort of rhythm to it where, there's a bad guy, and so Alex is called in, and he has to go get the bad guy, and all that kind of stuff. Or it's usually someone they suspect is a bad guy, and they don't know much about it. So Alex has to go find out what it is. And this is different because he goes and he's looking for them, and he finds this evil organization, but he's not really sure what he wants to do, because the whole point of the book is that in the past, the MI6 who've been employing him and sending him out on these missions have not been the kindest people. They have not been the most trustworthy people, and Alex feels a little manipulated into working for them. And so then he's faced with this other organization where people are really nice, and they really respect him, and they seem pretty trustworthy. And so there's this question of whether he's been doing the right thing by working for the MI6, or whether Scorpia would be a better fit for him, just because they treat him better. And I know that sounds a little bit like, well, of course, they're an evil organization, like, you should do that. But it makes perfect sense in the book, because he's 15, and they've been, like, the MI6 has been treating him this way, and it just has never felt right from the beginning of the series. And so to kind of be faced with that and to have Alex actually deal with that emotionally, and get angry and get upset at what's been going on, it feels really satisfying for that to finally be confronted. And I kind of wonder why they put that off to the fifth book in the series, because you have just a lot of it makes sense though, because like the rest of the series, you just have a lot of like built up like, oh, why is this happening? Why are these terrible people doing this to poor Alex? And so it's really going in more to the emotional toll that this is taking on Alex, and sometimes even talking more about the physical toll of it as well. It's just adds a real humanity to the entire series, and just makes it really all worth it for me. Like, I enjoyed all the other missions that he went on. I enjoyed the first 4 books leading up to this, but this one makes all of that worthwhile to pay off in an emotional and a human impact sort of way, while still having a really cool, thing going on, thing he's got to end up, trying to decide whether he's going to stop it or not. There's it's the evil plan of Scorpia is, I would almost say, the most believable one. The other one wasn't as believable, but this one, it's just pure like selfishness. The first one annoyed me a little bit because it was like one of those, ooh, I'm gonna get you back kind of things for all the terrible stuff that you've done. This one isn't revenge, it's just pure mercenary, I'm getting paid to do this, so this is what we're gonna do. And of course, the way that they're gonna do it is a little bit over the top, but that's a spy novel, and also it's like just clever enough that you're like, I see where they're going there. It's just really, really good. I have no complaints about it. For what it is, for what the Alex Rider series is, I really think that it's the best that it could possibly be. And maybe a little bit at the end, I get kind of, they do something with Alex's dad that kind of, like, you chickened out. But but other than that, I really like it. And then the last chapter, I don't know if I want it to be the last. Like, I wish that it was the ending of the series. I'm not sure, because I think about maybe I would be upset if it ended that way, but just the way that last chapter is written and the impactfulness of it, it's so slow and so precise in the writing. You can tell that the writer took a lot of time trying to decide how to deliver this final chapter, and it's just written so well. That it just it makes me so happy, and that's kind of why I wish that it was the last part of the series, because I didn't get that feeling with the actual ending of the series, if I remember correctly. I remember how the series actually ends, and it wasn't rushed per se, but it just did not have the emotional impact that I think he was going for, and it what ended up happening was just kind of dumb, and of course it involved the girl that I don't like in the series. Sabrina is her name. Is it Sabrina or Sabina? I don't think it has an R in it, which made it even more annoying. Like, what kind of name is Sabina? Anyway, ending that rant, it's just a really good book, and it's really well written, and it's perfectly balanced, and I would definitely suggest, I mean, you could probably just do what I did and read the first book as like your introduction into the series, and then read this one. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily suggest doing that, but if you're pressed for time, this works. It's so good. And anyway, that is that book. Guys, I only have 10 more books to read, and I'll be done with my favorite books. I will have read basically all the books in my shelf. I realized that I missed a couple, but that's because one of them is just because it's sad and really upsetting kind of book. and it's nonfiction, and so I don't know. I don't want to depress you guys. Maybe I'll review it someday, but anyway, the next book that we're reading is The Tale of Despero, which is this adorable little children's book, and I'm so excited to tell you guys about it because it's just so great. And I read the first couple of chapters, and I realized that it's really influenced, like her style, the style of Kate Camillo, the lady who wrote Tale of Despero. Her style kind of influenced my own writing a little bit when I wrote a novel of my own, and so it's just really exciting to read it again, and I'm excited to tell you guys about it. So I'll go and stop rambling on now, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.